Hello. Well, I have to warn you that if you have an IQ higher than the speed limit on the road outside a school, you're going to find the clip I'm about to play. It might cause a rush of blood to the head. So change channels now if being patronised by a mental gnat with a microphone makes you think that the witch in the gingerbread house had the correct attitude to the uses of Hansel and Gretel. Don't say I didn't warn you.
Well, Jamila, just explain to Pat why you would take her vote away.
Well, and again, I think it's important that you don't become offended by what's being said. It has nothing to do with. I think that you're completely capable of being of sound mind. I think that you are capable of making a vote. I just don't think it's fair that you have a vote when you're not going to experience the consequences of that vote. And you've had 50, 60 years of voting.
She's called Jamila, which means beautiful in Arabic. And that's sort of ironic, considering that the Arabs practically invented the idea of the institutional and permanent disenfranchisement of certain groups they considered inconvenient to their worldview. However, be that as it may, and I'm not talking about Theresa May here, even though she is trying her best to disenfranchise 17 million British voters who told her they wanted to get out of the European Union. Back to Jamila, the beautiful. Now, Jeremy Vine does have some wackos on his show, but this arrogant bint, that's another Arabic word, by the way, I do know quite a few. If we took her as an example, she would be living proof that the vote should be withdrawn from everyone under 25, which I presume she is. You can work out for yourselves whether I mean age or IQ, or both. Jamila, the beautiful, says that older people have had 50 or 60 years of voting. Does she think you wear this out? You know, like shoes? That reminds me of a very old and extremely politically incorrect joke in which a member of a certain group of people traditionally considered by the English to be somewhat parsimonious told his son not to wear his spectacles when he wasn't reading on the supposition that any use will wear out the glass. I have relatives in Scotland. I do hope they'll still talk to me after this. Anyway, back to Jamila, the beautiful. She also says that older people have no stake in the future, which is even more balderdash than her argument that they've worn out their votes, considering that older people usually have children and grandchildren whom they usually love. Well, except for her, perhaps. I wonder what her parents think of her. Perhaps she got that attitude because her parents, discovering that they'd spawned such an unpleasant, ageist, pretentious tosser, abandoned her on a hillside years ago to be brought up by wolves. Anyway, where was I? Oh yes, being so old, I can't remember where I am half the time. Actually, that's not true. What I really can't remember is when I last heard such a chunk of antisocial, stupid drivel since Jeremy Corbyn called that Hamas bloke his friend. Don't get me started on that. Let's get back to Jamila, the beautiful, who managed to broadcast one of the best examples of a proof of kid logic I've ever heard. That is apart from the constant wail, "It's not fair." Let's turn this around a little bit and go through a few proposals of my own. Older people are property owners. Some of them are double property owners. We have friends who live in London and have a cottage somewhere in the wilds of Suffolk, I think. Should our friend Clara, that's not her real name, by the way, should Clara and Brian have 2 votes each, on the grounds that they have a financial interest in Suffolk as well as London and a stake in the future of both places? Because, of course, they're going to pass those properties on to their own children in due course of time. And then what about someone who owns a business? Perhaps someone who lives in Fulham, that's in South London, but has a shop in Hampstead, which is in North London. Definitely a stake in the future there. Should he or she have 2 votes? Perhaps this person owns a chain of shops, 5 of them. 10 maybe, perhaps 20, all in different places. Does this person get votes for each one? Perhaps this is getting too complicated for Jamila, the beautiful. Let's leave property aside. How about paying tax? Surely people who pay for a government should get a vote in that government. I seem to remember a bit of a dust-up sometime in history about that. I forget when, because I'm so old, but I do remember it was sort of significant. Anyway, how about taxpayers? I wonder if Jamila, the beautiful, or any of her friends pay tax. Bet you they don't. Then perhaps it should be IQ that determines if you have a vote or not. I've seen a couple of comments under various videos suggesting that voters should have an IQ test. Case closed on that one. Look, Jamila, the beautiful. Did you ever hear that Victorian expression, children should be seen and not heard? Now, I always used to think that was a particularly child-unfriendly pronouncement which betrayed a peculiarly British dislike of children. But having experienced Jamila's bone-headed stupidity, I'm starting to come round to that opinion myself. Oh, experience. Now, that's something else we can use to decide who gets the vote. Can't we? Listen, Jamila, the beautiful, you're not that bright, but you are quite good looking. So do yourself a favour, go on a diet to get really, really thin, get a job as a model. You'd probably make a decent living, so long as you keep your mouth shut. Then you'd earn some money, pay tax, buy yourself a little flat, and, God help us, get the right to vote. Thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe. And if you wish to donate, it's through PayPal at grannyopteryx@gmail.com. Till next time.